Alright. Alright, I'm back for another show. You know, hopefully I get through this with no problems. But, peace to everybody that listens to the show. Please like and share. And please support the survey that I created. Please support this podcast, the talk show version or the YouTube version, but please support, help us get in the algorithm. Shout out to AJ Pax and Leafy. Shout out to Don D205. Shout out to you. On Twix is Don D205. On Instagram is Don D205 TV. And on X, Twitter is Don D. But support him. His show come on at 12, I say 12:22, around 12:22 a.m. if you're in the Eastern Standard Time. Then y'all just got to do the math about, how do y'all line up with that. It's 12:22 a.m. But y'all do the math. Let me see what YouTube looking like. All right, we good with YouTube. I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna see, can I get some people in from Twitter? Hopefully the stream doesn't mess up. Give me a second, everyone. Yeah, it's trying. As long as I don't see my face freezing up, I'm good. Yeah, it's trying. There you go. We good. Well, it's loading up. It ain't like the full screen done pop up yet. But yeah, I got some things I want to talk about today. Shout out to Lux. Shout out to him. Good brother. Knew him for years. Knew him for decades. Shout out to Lux. Lux Vision. You find him on YouTube. Lux Vision. Let me see. We are live. All right. Yeah, if any of y'all ever want to come on the show, just pop up. Because it helps. It helps us have more discussions, so we all, because long as we keep talking and communicating, and the developers see that, and I keep telling y'all, this show is not just for Undisputed, because I know the developers at Undisputed, they barely pay attention to anything we say. Their thing is they already got their mind made up what they're gonna make. They got their mind made up to what they want to make. And I'm still a little upset with JMMA, because just make a survey video. What is it gonna hurt? We be having time to make videos that some people see as like they're worthless. Some people will say some of the videos that any of us put out is worthless. So at least put out a survey video. You never know. Especially to me, you're lessening how important you are to the community. And you keep saying, well, Steel City gonna do this, Steel City gonna do that. We don't know what the survey gonna do. until we get one. If I would have took that approach with EA, it's a lot of things that we did get, y'all would never see. It's not a waste of time. 100% is not a waste of time. I don't know where that logic came from, because a survey is data, especially like I always say. See, a lot of companies be trying to do it themselves, and they try to shape the narrative. But what I'm asking for is a third party to make it for them. Surveys do work 100%. Look it up. For one, yeah, look it up, because y'all keep telling me surveys don't work. Look it up. Surveys do work. We gotta stop giving Steel City so many excuses and so many breaks about stuff. Yeah, but what's up, Leafy? Pound for pound boxing gang. Shout out to Leafy. Shout out to Leafy. Let me see. I want to do something. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't know. Everything's going great so far. Everything's going pretty good. Yeah, it's just that it's the waiting game right now. Basically waiting to see what the city next move is going to be. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, we trying to see where Steel City Mine is at. Let me see. Get at least one more person in before I start reading. Everybody be popping in trying to figure out what did I read. But my thing is, if you miss something, go back and see it. I guarantee they are going to abandon Undisputed 1 and work on Undisputed 2. I think so too. But the thing is, do they have the right people? Are they just keeping the people working on Undisputed 1 there just to work on Undisputed 1? And then they got a couple of guys to work on Undisputed 2. If the player base skyrockets and stay high for the next month because of the PS Plus benefits to play Undisputed for free, they'll continue developing on Undisputed. If not, they're moving to make Undisputed 2. Yup. But then we got to think about it. Are they gonna have to look for a different publisher and different investors? Because that's what the developers that's what the publishers and investors they want to see, some type of movement. If the game don't succeed, the developer is gonna have to make up for the money that they got to invest in the part 2. So I don't know. And are they going to fire the guys from Undisputed 1? That's what I would. They should be real scared, especially if they don't have no talent for Unreal Engine. For sure, different publishers and investors and developers. Yeah. New name even. Now I don't think they're gonna do because they already that'd be like 3 times, and that's unheard for a company to change the name 3 times openly. It's a company that changed the names like internally, but openly they don't like let the company. I mean, people see that because EA they went from Knockout Kings to Fight Night. So, they did that out in the open. I mean, they did that behind the scenes. They didn't just like change it. It just went on. And Steel City, they didn't put out enough for them to say, all right, we're going to change the name. I like the Undisputed name, to be honest. The ESB, I don't know why everybody like I keep telling everybody, when you hear ESBC, you do not think about a game made for everybody. ESBC sound like it's made for esports only. Esports and online. That's what ESBC stands. I mean, that's what people think about when they hear that name. And people start like, straying away. So there's whoever got them to change it to Undisputed say, hey, you're going to lose a lot of your customers. You got to change a name that's going to grab their attention, that don't make them feel like it's just going to be an online and esports game. So I think that went into them changing the name, and I really do think that they robbed me for that name, because right before they did it, because I asked what's his name in the Discord, Boxing Fanatical. I asked him. I said, yo, did that name come from me making that photo that I did? And he said, no, but I don't know. I don't with Box Fanatical, I really don't know. I really don't know, because it was like real like suspect for them to make that name like a week or two right after I made that photo, because I was doing it for somebody. I was doing it for one of them developers. So I don't know. My thing is, I just hope that we get some information at least next week or the beginning of next month, because they're not saying anything, and it's shameful. Even though No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077, even though they went silent, they didn't really go silent. We knew they were working on Cyberpunk to be better. With Steel City, it's no excuse. People keep giving them that excuse. Oh, it's their first game. Oh, they're a brand new team. It's a lot of Embark. This is their first extraction shooter, and it made, I think, what they said, $1 billion, over $1 billion. So nah, that excuse don't hold up. That excuse don't hold up. And like I keep saying, they have veterans on their team. They have people that always worked on video games. Let me see. Looks like it's gonna be one of those days, but I'm gonna read my script. All right. Respect the craft. Why experience still matters in boxing and boxing games. Let me say something that might make people uncomfortable. In today's world, everybody is an expert. One fight, one amateur match, one YouTube deep dive, one Discord debate. And suddenly they're speaking with the same authority as someone who lived it. This is to the people that be trying to come at me. Like I didn't have 1 or 2 fights. I didn't just spar in the ring. I didn't just spar. I didn't just have one amateur fight. I had over 25 amateur fights. I had 2 pro fights. I say 3, but it's 2. I had 2 pro fights. 1 and 1. 1 and 1. And I don't want to tell the story because it sounds like when you tell the story about why you lost and everything, then people gonna be like, oh, that's an excuse. You wasn't as good as you thought you was. Yet they don't realize the greatest people lost their first one or two fights. Bernard Hopkins, for instance. So please don't come at me like that. And please listen to when I be telling y'all that I was a decorated amateur. My promoter, who was also my manager, this guy was like he was like a what you would call Don King like. The joke had me fighting. I was supposed to have been fighting cruiserweight. The joke had me fighting heavyweight. My body wasn't prepared to fight heavyweight. Let me see. Even though I'm not could, but the training that I went through, I didn't go through for that heavyweight. All right. And suddenly they're speaking. All right, let me see. In today's world, everybody is an expert. One fight, one amateur match, one YouTube deep dive, one Discord debate. And suddenly they're speaking with the same authority as someone who lived it. Today we're talking about experience versus noise and why that difference matter more than ever in boxing and in boxing video games. What experience actually means. When someone says, I've boxed, what does that mean? Did you cut weight? Did you fight through injury? I have, 100%. I ripped my pectoral muscle in the ring. My arm popped out the socket 3 times in one fight against a knockout, a guy that was known to knock out people. And the guy, he ended up being a real champ, like a pro champ. His name is Emanuel Mayfield. He actually ended up being my stablemate. But I fought through the injury. I think I went to almost to the 3rd round, and the referee like seen me, the arm. He's like, it was crazy because the audience kept going. They were like grossed out at it. All right, let me get back to this. What does that mean? You know, when people say they box, what does that mean? Did you cut weight, fight through injury, deal with bad judging, travel to hostile gyms, lose, get stopped, come back? There's a difference between participating and living it. There's a difference between participating and living it. 20 fights teach you things, one fight never will. 20 fights teaches you things, one fight never will. You learn pacing, you learn fear, you learn fatigue under bright lights. You learn how the body actually reacts after 6 rounds. That depth of understanding changes how you see boxing systems, inside and outside the ring. Why this matters in video game design. Now let's bring this into game development. When people say it's just a game, no. A boxing game is a simulation of consequences. If clinching is shallow, fatigue doesn't alter punch mechanics, if inside fighting isn't system driven, if referees don't influence rhythm, if styles don't clash organically, then what you have is in boxing, it's an animation trading turns. It's animations trading turns. Experience teaches you that boxing is not about throwing punches. It's about distance control, risk management, emotional swings, tactical adjustments mid-fight, surviving bad moments. And if those aren't modeled something fundamental is missing. Debate culture versus real authority. There's a trend I've noticed. People who speak the loudest about knowing boxing often avoid discussing systems, avoid discussing depth, avoid discussing authenticity framework, avoid discussing how mechanics interact. Instead, it becomes ego-driven debate. But experience doesn't argue loudly. Experience explains calmly. Experience can say, I've been there. Here's why. Here's what actually happens. And when you lived it, you don't need theatrics. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. What's up, Mike Adams? Appreciate you coming through. Oh, sweet. Mike Adams said they should change the name from Undisputed to Uninstalled. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let me see. Respect without arrogance. This isn't about belittling anyone. Everyone starts somewhere, but credibility comes from repetition, exposure, failure, adaptation, time invested. If someone has one match, that's respectable, but that's not the same perspective as someone who spent years competing. And when we're talking about building systems, that represent the sport. Depth matters, experience matters, patterns recognition matters. The bigger question, here's the real question. Do we want boxing represented accurately, or do we want arguments to win? That's the thing. Do we want boxing represented accurately, or do we want arguments to win? Because those are two different goals. If the goal is authenticity, then lived experience has weight. If the goal is authenticity, then lived experience has weight. Historical study has weight. Structural breakdown has weight. If the goal is ego, then the loudest voice wins. Here's what I believe. Boxing deserves more than surface level takes. It deserves structural authenticity, system depth, designers who understand consequences, community voices rooted in reality. Experience isn't everything, but it's not nothing. And when someone has put years in the craft, that perspective should be valued, not dismissed. Let me see. A divided community cannot build a better boxing game. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. All right. Yeah, divided community cannot build a better boxing game. Let's talk honestly. The boxing game community is divided, not over small things, not over minor balance tweaks, but over something bigger. Whether we push for authenticity together or split ourselves trying to please developers. And that division is hurting us. The fragmentation problem. Right now, we have three groups. Technically more, but we have three groups. People pushing for deeper systems, realism, and authenticity. People defending everything developers do no matter what. People exhausted and disengaged. When the community fragments like this, one thing's happen. The standards drop because developers don't have to meet and unify expectations. Because developers don't have to meet a unified expectation. They only have to satisfy the loudest. most agreeable segment. And agreeable doesn't always mean accurate. The psychology of deeper proximity. Let's address something uncomfortable. Whether developers either discords, comment sections, or forums, some fans shift their tone. When developers enter discords, comment sections, or forums, some fans shift their tone. Criticism softens, standards lower, accountability disappear. Why? Because proximity means like validation. But being noticed by a developer is not the same as influencing the product. And protecting a company from criticism does not improve the game. Constructive pressure does. Pleasing companies versus protecting the sport. Pleasing companies versus protecting the sport. This is why it gets important. This is where it gets important, excuse me. If feedback is shaped around what will make the game like me. Excuse me. I don't know what the heck to see. I gotta start wearing glasses again. If feedback is shaped around what will make the studio like me instead of what will make boxing represented properly, then the community loses. A sport simulation community has a responsibility to protect the integrity of the sport inside the game, not to protect corporate feelings. You can support a company and still demand more. You can support a company and still demand more. You can appreciate effort and still require death. Those are not contradictions. What unity actually means. Unity does not mean blind activity. Unity does not mean attacking developers. Unity means agreeing on baseline standards, agreeing that boxing deserves system death, agreeing that features like clinching, inside fighting tendencies, referees, career mode are not extras, agreeing that realism should be optimal, not removed. When the community aligns on non-negotiable, studios adapt. When the community argues internally, studios relax. History proves this in every genre. The long game. This isn't about one title. It's about the future of boxing and gaming. If we accept shallow systems now, we normalize shallow system later. If we lower expectations today, we train the market to expect less tomorrow. But if the community says calmly and consistently, we support you, but boxing deserves death, that message carries weight. Here's the truth. Division benefits companies. Unity benefits the sport. You don't have to attack anyone. You don't have to insult developers, but you also don't have to dilute your standards to be accepted. A divided community cannot build a better boxing game, but a focused one can raise the entire industry standard. Let me see. Before I start reading my talking points, let me see what's going on in the chat. Oh, nothing. Dad, I'm joining like a mom. This might really be a short show. All right. Division is costing us. The community is divided and it's weakening weakening our leverage. We don't have a developer problem. We have a unity problem. Studios respond to pressure. Pressure only works when it's collective. Why are we fighting each other instead of fighting for better systems? This is a member in the community. I'm just supporting the devs. They're trying. Me. Support them is fine, but does support means lowering standards? The person answers, well, they're in the Discord talking to us. Me. Access is not influence. Access without standards is applause. The approval trap. My talking point. Some fans soften their position when developers are present. Psychological needs for validation. Fear of being labeled negative. Desire to be seen as close to the team. Desire to be seen as close to the team. All right. What me is I'm reading this from me. Why change? Last month you said clinching was shallow. Someone says, well, they said they're working on it. Me. Working on it how? What's the system depth? Why they're into the interaction model? What's the interaction model? Is it animation based or logic based? The person said, I don't know. Then why did your standards change? Constructive pressure versus blind defense. My talking point. Constructive pressure improves game. Blind defense protect mediocrity. Every major comeback story requires pressure. Community shape franchises. Silence equals approval. Divided criticism equals weak influence. All right. Me. Do you want a better boxing game? Community member. Of course. Me. Then why tag people pushing for deeper systems? The community member. You're too critical. Me. Or are they asking for boxing to be represented properly? Or am I asking for boxing to be represented properly? You're too critical. All right. What unity should look like? Unity does not mean hate campaigns, harassment, tearing down developers. Unity does mean agreeing on baseline standards, demanding system depth, separating assets from accountability, protecting the sport first. Protecting the sport first. Me. Can we agree on this? Clinching needs logic. Inside fighting needs mechanics. Referees need influence. Career mode needs consequences. Styles must clash realistically. The community. Yes. Me. Then why argue with people asking for those things? The long-term consequences. My talking points. If shallow systems are accepted, they become the new normal. Lowered standards shape the next sequel. Divided communities get cosmetic updates. Unified communities get systematic upgrades. What happens when we fight each other? Community member. The company wins. Me. What happens when we align on standards? Community member. They have to respond. Me. Exactly. Boxing is not niche. Boxing is not arcade only. Boxing is not surface level. The community must decide. Do we want developers' approval or do we want boxing represented properly? We can be respectful. You can be respectful. You can be firm. You can be united, but you cannot be divided and expect progress. All right, let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Oh man. What's up, Lux? Appreciate you popping through, man. Appreciate you. Let me see when you popped in. Oh, you been in for 4 minutes. Appreciate you, man. Read a couple of more questions, then I'm out. Yeah. It's like I'm starting to do exactly what I started to do because I was trying to make my show be an hour. It always stretched out to be longer. All right. Are we hurting ourselves? Question. Why are you calling out the community? Somebody made this question. Why are you calling out the community? Shouldn't we focus on developers? Me. Because developers respond to signals. If the signals is divided, they respond to the easiest segment to satisfy. If half the community demands death and the other half defends everything, the incentives to push deeper systems weaken. This isn't about attacking fans, it's about understanding leverage. Unified standards influence development. Fragmentation dilutes it. All right. What's wrong with supporting the developers? My answer, nothing. Support and standards are not opposites. Support and standards are not opposites. You can say we appreciate the work and also say clinching needs layer logic. Inside fighting needs real mechanics. Tendency needs to be driven. Tendency needs to drive behavior. Support without accountability becomes applause. Support with standards become partnerships. Are you saying people who defend the game are wrong? Me, not wrong, but sometimes short-sighted. If criticism disappears the moment a developer enters a chat, that's not evaluation. That's social pressure. A healthy community can praise improvements, identify weaknesses, suggest systems upgrade, stay consistent regardless of who's watching. Consistency builds credibility. Isn't constant criticism toxic? My answer, tone determines toxicity. Asking, how does fatigue alters punch output logic? How does the referee influence pacing? How are tendencies mapped in AI behavior trees? That's not toxic. That's design discussion. Toxicity is personal. Standards are structural. There's a difference. What do you mean by unity? My answer, not mob mentality, not harassment, not negativity. Unity means agreeing on baseline expectations. Clinching must be systematic. Styles must feel different. Career mode must have consequences. Referees must matter. Damage must affect performance. If we align on fundamentals, we elevate the entire game. What happens if we stay divided? My answer: cosmetic upgrades, surface level features, marketing wins, but no systematic leap. The vision lowers the bar quietly. Studios don't ignore communities. They follow the path of least resistance. Why does this matter so much to you when they're talking to me? My answer: because boxing deserves death. It's one of the most strategic combat sports in existence. Distance, rhythm, deception, damage accumulation, psychological warfare. If that complexity isn't represented, we reduce the sport to button presses. And fans deserve more than that. So, what should the community actually do? My answer: three things. Separate emotion from standards. Stop attacking each other over fundamentals. Stay consistent whether developers are present or not. If something needs improvement, say it respectfully and keep saying it. Consistency shapes franchises. Is unity realistic? My answer: perfect unity. No. But alignment on core expectations, yes. We don't have to agree on everything, but we should agree that boxing as a sport deserves to be represented with depth, structure, and consequences. That's not anti-developer. That's pro-boxing. All right, let me see what you're saying in the chat. Man. Lamont Davis is in the house. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Lux, for tapping in. Lamont Davis in the house. Let's see how long you been in here. Oh, just a minute. All right, Dad, Lamont, you popped in right when I was about to end the show. All right, I'm gonna read a little more. Oh, man. Excuse me. Let me see. This is some questions. Why are you criticizing the community instead of holding the company accountable? My answer: because accountability requires alignment. If half the community defends everything and the other half pushes for death, the community receives mixed signals. The company receives mixed signals. Companies optimize for stability. If the stable group says it's fine, the urgency disappears. So yes, hold companies accountable, but first stop canceling each other out. Another question from the community. You sound like you think you're the authority. My answer: no, authority isn't about ego. It's about structure. Authority isn't about ego. It's about structure. If someone promises a referee attribute matrix, a layered clinch logic model, a tendency-driven AI system, then debate the systems. But dismissing ideas because of who presents them, that's insecurity, not analysts. by dismissing ideas because of who presented them. That's insecurity, not analysts. Let's debate mechanics, not personalities. Isn't some of this just preference? My answer: graphics, preference. Commentary tone, preference. But structural depth, that's not preference. Boxing has clinching, inside fighting, fatigue shifts, strategic pacing, psychological momentum. If a boxing game lacks system depth in those areas, that's not taste, that's absence. Why does it bother you if some fans defend developers? Why does it bother you if some fans defend the developers? It doesn't bother me. What concerns me is when defense overrides standards. There's the difference between I like the game and it doesn't need developer mechanics. It doesn't need deeper mechanics. Yeah, I'm basically tired. All right. One is opinion, the other lowers the ceiling for everyone. Developers are human. Doesn't constant pressure discourage them? Answer: pressure handles respect. My answer is pressure handles respectful, especially drive excellence. Pressure handled respectfully drives excellence. Look at every major comeback in gaming history. It wasn't built on silence, it was built on community, insistence, clear expectations, and sustained feedback. The key is tone. Attack the system gaps, not the people. Attack the system gaps, not the people. Are you saying the game fell? Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Oh no. Read a little bit more. All right. Are you saying the game fell? Yeah, it did fail. But incomplete systems aren't assets. But incomplete systems aren't success. A foundation can be solid and still lack structural depth. The goal isn't to label something a failure. The goal is to prevent stagnation. What if the studio doesn't have the resources? My answer: then prioritize correctly. System depth scales. Cosmetics don't sustain. System depth scales. Cosmetics don't sustain. If resources are limited, build the logic first. If resources are limited, build the logic first. See, I know these things. They didn't build the logic and all that first. They didn't build the right systems first. If resources are limited, build the logic first. Damage mapping, AI tendencies, clinch logic, fatigue modeling. Presentation can evolve later. Mechanics define longevity. Why do fans attack other fans pushing for realism? My answer: because realism requires patience. Arcade gratification is immediate. Deep systems demand learning, adaptation, and strategy. Some players prefer accessibility, that's fine, but accessibility and depth are not enemies, they're layers. The mistake is removing depth to simplify access. So, what's my solution? Somebody said, what's your solution? My solution is 3 pillars: establish non-negotiable, fundamentals, separate critiques from hostility, stay consistent, whether developers are watching or not. If the community repeats the same structural priorities calmly and repeatedly, it becomes impossible to ignore. That's why I always repeat myself. I know what I'm talking about. What happens if nothing changes? Then the market decides. But if the community never align, we'll never know what unified pressure could have achieved. Division guarantees limited influence. Unity at least gives the sport a fighting chance. Is this about ego? No. Egos argue. Structure builds. If the conversation become personal, the mission gets lost. The mission is simple. Boxing deserves depth. The community deserves systems, and unity strengthens leverage. All right, yeah, I'm about to step. Let me see. Salute to Lamont Davis. I'm giving y'all my shout outs now. I'm about to end the show. Shout out to Lamont Davis. Shout out to Lux for coming through, Luxury Cleve. Shout out to Mike Adams. Shout out to Pound for Pound Boxing. You know, shout out to everybody that always support the show. Shout out to Don D 205. He's on Twitch. He's on Instagram. He's on Twitter, X. And on his new account on Instagram is Don D 205 TV. Check him out. His show is at it comes on at 12:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And do the math and you'll find out what time he comes on in your area. But please give him support. Even if y'all just, subscribe to his accounts. Shout out to everybody. Let me see what's going on. Shout out to everybody. Salute. Lamont Davis, salute to you. Lamont Davis be everywhere. Like everywhere I go, I see Lamont Davis. He gives support to everybody. And that's great, man. That's great. Yeah, salute to everybody. Shout out to JMMA. Shout out to Beast. Shout out to who else I'm leaving out? Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Papanosis and the Whistlers Mafia. Shout out to I ain't give a shout out. Shout out to Anthony. His name is Indigo72. He used to be a moderator with me on the Fight Night forums. I brought him in. But shout out to Anthony. And shout out to what's my guy? I forget his name because we haven't talked in a long time. And that's crazy. If y'all friends, you should know his name. But shout out to you, man. I know we got a long history. But I apologize. I just like so many names. And I guess it's me getting old. But shout out to everybody, man. I appreciate y'all coming through. And just support me so I could do better. I get more people saying y'all hit the like button. I get more people watching the show. That makes me more motivated to do better content. And I get better, and I might be able to get interviews. I might have to do like the witness protection thing, have the blurred screen, and their voice sound different. But shout out to y'all. You know who I might try to get an interview with? Mike Straw. Mike Straw should be an interested interview. Yeah, get somebody like Mike Straw on here. Or he might bring me on this show, but just, salute to everybody. Peace out to everybody. I appreciate y'all coming through. Salute and peace. Oh, man.